Very good.
You mentioned content real quick. So the Bear, I need to watch that, dude. I need to watch that show.
It's very good. Melanie loves it like a lot more,
Hmm.
and I get it. It's a great show. It's weird though. There's no TV shows right now currently that I'm dying to watch next. Like
TV shows,
even that I'm
no.
watching now. Like I'm just not, and I don't think it has anything to do with the strike. I don't think it has any. For whatever reason, there are not shows that are intensely resonating with me. That was a very good show. The problem is, it was one of those that I watch with Melanie exclusively. We always watch it right before going to bed, and so it ends up taking 5 days to finish like a 35-minute episode.
What, that long?
Well, because one of us falls asleep within
Even for half an hour show?
5 minutes. Well, we're just so tired. If you start watching at 10, it's like,
Jeez, oh my god!
and you're in bed watching it, like you just go. It's a very good show though.
Yeah, I need to
And
watch it. I need to watch
It's quick. It's surprising. It does things in season 2 that blow your mind. Like 5 major actors just show up in
Really?
the one episode of a flashback to the family.
Oh wow, okay.
Like like it's the weirdest thing, and they're just family members in a flashback episode. There's one episode where the cousin goes to work at like a 5-star restaurant for a week so that he could get upskilled to be able to do the restaurant they're trying to build. And he walks into the back, and the head of that restaurant is Olivia Colman. Like she's just in the show. It's like so there's something about the people writing this show and running it that they're humming at a higher level than anyone even understands. And that they can just like humble brag in Olivia Colman or Jamie Lee Curtis or Oliver Platt, is in it. Like it's really the brother is John, the Punisher guy, John Bernthal.
Burnham, right? Yeah.
Bernthal, like it's just worth watching. You'll get through it so quick.
No, I saw. That's the only show, honestly. That's the only scripted show, honestly, that I have to say that I haven't watched yet. I want to watch. Other than that, there's no really any scripted shows that I'm like vying or trying to see hardcore. Like honestly, I've been in documentary's been my thing, right? Like a lot in the last like year or so. Whether it's in sports, whether it's in politics, and or my content I do on YouTube. I watch YouTube videos a lot. I watch like my daily content, like sports, like talk shows, or or my political shows I watch every day, whatever. I watch it in bite size on YouTube now. Honestly, YouTube took over my life last year and a half. Honestly, YouTube Premium to me is probably for me because I put more I watch most of my content on that platform. Is probably the best $17 a month I spend.
Yeah, and I have the student rate, which is
Again?
about 7. But the problem is, I ran the life out on my main Google account, where they're like, all right, you're no longer a student at this point. So I had to start up a new Gmail and get student credentialed so that can start the timeline again. But now I have a fresh YouTube with no idea of who I am as a person. So I'm in that phase where I'm not getting yet the content that actually resonates with me as it learns my profile.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside, but it allowed me to get it back at $7 a month. And then the student for NFL Sunday Ticket was good. But I think, again, like Only Murders in the Building is really trending. Melanie really likes that. We watched that. I'm fine with it.
Is that on Netflix? What was that on?
No, it's on Hulu, and it's got Martin Short and Steve Martin. It just kind of took things over. It's about a podcast, actually.
Really?
It's a little bit of a satire about a true crime podcast.
Okay.
About a building in New York City where there's a murder, and then like Steve Martin and Martin Short and this what's her name? Is it not Selena Gomez? Selena, can't think of her.
Selena.
I'll tell you who it is. It's Selena Gomez. It is Selena Gomez.
Okay.
She's in it too. and they start a podcast to talk about the murder in their about their building. It's a good premise, and I mean, it's got major people in it, and it always seems to be trending like number one. Like right now, the new season came out. I have not opened Disney Plus to watch one show in
I haven't either.
God knows how long, which is a terrible indictment.
That's for the kids.
But it started strong, like where we were watching shows. I'm just not that hooked to the Marvel and Star Wars universe. I'm just not that hooked.
I think I know why though too. Also, I think you and I are part of the same boat, and I think we discussed it even on the last show we did together a couple of years ago. It remains true, if not more so now. I think content is so overwhelming at this point. It's just so much because for me anyway, even with podcasts. Like I found the ways now to stay informed with podcasts that I do like. So I listen to the shows in bite size on YouTube instead. If they put out clips for the shows instead of the entire 2-3 hour episodes, like Joe Rogan, for example, I'll listen to in clips unless it's of someone I'm really want to listen to. But I'm now overwhelmed by content now, and I still want to put out content on top of that too. So it's harder to navigate all that. Even it's I would say it's harder even more now in 2023 than it was in 2019 when we discussed it.
Yeah, I still try to check in on Just Watch, the app and the website, justwatch.com, just to see what everyone's watching, and then to see if that from that I can make a decision. So I'm trying this.
Just Watch?
Just Watch, yeah. It's a great show, and it'll tell you by popularity at any one moment in a 24-hour period what everyone's watching.
Okay.
Across all the apps in streaming. So Dark Winds is up there. I'm trying to watch that. It's like a true crime story in the Indian territories in the 1970s.
Right.
The Taylor Sheridan shows are always trending. He's killing it. You know, Yellowstone. He's got this Special Ops Lioness. He's got that show with. He's owning the Paramount Plus thing. He's got the show with Sylvester Stallone that I started watching, which was interesting. The Tulsa one. You know, the Bears up there, which is great. I started watching Billions again because I heard I had stopped right when Damian Lewis left. And nothing kept me going. And then I heard Damian Lewis has come back for this. And so I got back into it because you know what? It's not an A+ show, but it's within my interest and it's a really good show. And it's got good storylines. It keeps you up. It's good. So even in this half of the season or full season that Damian Lewis isn't there, they got Corey Stoll as the main guy. Paul Giamatti's still there. It's good. So I've been watching that basically once a night. Hijack, I watched. That was interesting.
And that's on where?
That's on Apple TV.
Okay.
Apple TV Plus. And it's got, what's his name? Stringer Bell. Idris Elba.
Yeah.
And
my wife loves him, so my wife's in love with him.
It's a good one, and it's shot beautifully. It's 8 episodes and out, and it's just about a plane hijacking the whole show. Like one, and he's a master business negotiator. Is it the best show ever? No, in fact, 87% rating, but hey, it's good. It's got star power. It's beautifully shot, and it's moving. But I'm just not, and I don't get a fill from watching sports clips and shows as much anymore. I actually watch Sports Center. I try to watch that each morning just so I can be aware of the stories. And it's funny, like I'll watch it and I'll put together a couple of notes just to put in there, which maybe I can talk about down the line. Like last night, Scherzer against Verlander. That's interesting. That's an ability to talk about the Mets. Then I saw the Nick Bosa with his deal. And then it made me lead down to, that's pretty cool. The Bosa brothers are 2 of the 4 highest paid pass rushers in the history of the game. That's cool for their family, which then led me to, oh my God, what's the tax like that, both in California, and how much money would they be getting back if they were in Texas, like all these tech companies? And then you could talk about the tech companies doing that and move into Texas. And then, and Joe Rogan, you know, 12, like I was doing the math on the Bosa thing. $10 million over the life of the contract in taxes he has to pay living in California versus living in a 0 income tax state.
It's insane.
So that's kind of where I go with those. And then, you know, I'll throw on, since I have NFL TV now and again, in the mix. I'll throw on that Good Morning Football. That's decent. I get bored though when people talk about one sport the whole time and aren't allowed. Like Mad Dog's show on baseball is good, but I like it almost before the season starts to get up to speed in the 30 days. I don't like watching it day by day. I hate when people can't connect across sports.
Right. So you're pretty much done with like day-to-day sports like talk every day.
Yeah. I'll still listen to Bill Simmons.
But I wouldn't even consider him day-to-day either. He does a show Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He's so leaves room to breathe.
But he's regular. Like he's
right.
He's regular. I still, when that pops in, I'll still listen to it. Podcasts, though, I don't really listen to many podcasts anymore. I still listen to Howard Stern a ton to get through that. I listen to articles now instead of reading them. Like I'll listen to New Yorker articles. I'll listen to Atlantic articles.
I'm getting back into The Economist. I'm getting back into the reading again now. I'm getting a little burnt out on the podcasting to some degree. I'm starting to get back into reading. Wanting to read books. I still have Audible books I've queued. I've ordered the last like 2 years. I haven't finished yet. Don't want to get to that. So even I think that I'm still kind of in the day-to-day sports to some degree, but I'm starting to become more precise on which shows I choose to listen to in clips and not. Instead of doing this the whole damn thing, just clip this, and then next thing you know, I have 5 hours gone just listening to content like of stuff that really doesn't really matter in the grand scheme. You know what I mean? So I'd rather pick a couple shows here and there. I'll click and that's it.
Yeah, sports. I have to watch primetime, and I have to watch it on Sunday night or at the latest Monday morning. If I don't watch it by then, I don't watch it. But if I can watch NFL primetime Sunday night, I feel good. I love that show so much.
I failed last year. When it came back, I was fired up for it. I watched every night, every Sunday night.
Yeah.
But I failed last year. I failed because again, same thing. You have other things to watch too on top of that. So I get it, man. I get it. Sometimes I'm trying navigating all that shit's hard though.
It is. I need it because even though I have the Sunday ticket, I still predominantly watch Red Zone channel.
Me too.
But with the multi-grid view, I'll put on the Red Zone on one, and then I'll put on a couple of the other main games on the other. But then the hard thing becomes I can't put the Giants in that mix because they're blacked out. So the Red Zone almost it gets really difficult because then I end up not watching the local teams for the whole game. And then what's the point? What's the point of just watching Red Zone if it's essentially just a highlight show? And the thing with Red Zone, they're not really in real time. So like
no, they're not.
It'll score and all you're doing is watching 8 hours of a highlight show. And so you lose the intricacies of a defensive battle. You lose the intricacies or the nuance of what trending things overall with the team outside of scoring. And that to me that's a hard thing to square. And so what I like to do, I'll put a bunch on, maybe I'll put the local game on my iPad with me to have that on. And then that's why watching primetime is great because it fills in the blanks on everything else. But that gets very overwhelming because if I'm going to want to talk about it, you have to be very specific in what part of it you're going to talk about. You have to almost be very shallow or very based on the main offensive players. Or if something sticks out in the box score, it's like, oh my God, that guy had 13 tackles. But you definitely lose the continuity. And that's why you ever notice, that's why I think Colin Cowherd only watches Red Zone channel, but then they'll talk about the primetime game because everybody's watching that whole in whole.
Right. Correct.
And then you talk about the Monday primetime game on Tuesdays. So there are ways around that. And then you can use that moment to talk about a team because you saw them in that whole game and then you can stitch together the red zone parts about what happened with them or the storylines over the previous. But you have to be, it's not quite free and easy.
No.
And then like we said in the last podcast, by the time the 4:00 games come, I'm even barely red zoning with those. Like it's on.
Yeah. I'm the same way too. Like it's on, like 1:00 I'm fired up. Let's go. 1:00, boom, boom. And by 4, I got to, wind down a little bit because the kids got to take a bath, they got to get dinner ready, this and stuff. And so I'm still watching 4:00 games, but it's more on the side. It's more like on the back burner. It's more like a background noise.
Yeah.
8:00, I might watch the game if I'm interested in the game. But I'm in a place now. As much as I love football, I do get burned out now. By 8:00, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. So tonight will be great. Having a good game on just to watch it again.
Yeah,
but I really pick and choose by my own interest in the day, if or how I talk about it. Yeah. I don't want to just blindly say I'm always going to talk about it on Monday, because what if I had what if we went apple picking? What if we went and is it really like it's not my job? So,
but not only that, like your podcast has not really been that way for years now. So to be honest, you already transition yourself out of that sports only or sports centric show. Even some degree with my show, to some degree, I do have, like I said, I do have like episodes a week where I do with my friends that will talk about it, but I don't prioritize it about my solo shows anymore like I used to, because I have a section to do that with my friends. So
That's right. So that's, and then there's the piece of like the Mike Francesa part where you talk about everything, but you make sure the things you're not interested in, you bring on guests who know the stuff.
I have to admit, I've cooled off on Francesa the last couple months. I don't know why. Again, it goes back to the whole YouTube thing. I'm more on YouTube now than I've been on
he's not on there.
Apps.
That's interesting. Yeah.
No, I think he is on there actually, but I just don't. I don't. He's not on video and all like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he prioritizes the YouTube page in the same way. The company that hosts his podcasting has his show on there, but again, I don't think it's gonna traction the same way as his podcast because it's audio only. But,
yeah. I'll throw it on, but he's definitely mailing it a bit. He's mailing it in a bit.
You think so?
A little bit. I mean, he's interested in what he is.
New York sports.
Yeah, he loves football. If a New York sports team rises up to being worth talking about it, he'll get into it around that time.
Yeah.
But it's the difficult part. Like, if you're known for something, you're not allowed to navigate outside of it. And that was always the best part of Mike and the Mad Dog, is like Mad Dog for 4% of the show would navigate people out of the conversation of sports, and it would be funny for a minute. And then they get back, right? But I like to kind of meander towards the things I'm very interested in at the time when I want to talk about it.
Same thing with me.
Right? So that ends up, if I do an episode and I'm like, I have to do an episode that recaps this weekend. What if I'm not into it that weekend? And now I'm doing homework to make up some take, on a Monday. That's what really the thing that changed my vantage about this whole thing was when I started listening to Bill Burr's podcast. And I don't listen to it at all anymore.
Really? Why?
Not out of any reason of just time and capacity.
Because I'm the same way to it, but there'll be a week or two I'll listen to episodes and I'm like, I'll go 6 months on this episode. So like, I get it.
But I do like that I've seen there's sometimes where he goes into a studio and interviews certain guests for his show. I think that's fun because I think he has a great approach to interviewing. Like, he's smart enough to carry the whole thing and funny enough. So when he has a guest, he doesn't beat around the bush. He gets like right to stuff. Everyone starts laughing. Like even Joe Rogan can be a little too self-serious, right? But like Bill Burr's is like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not. But that was what changed my thing, is that he's like, I'm recording every Sunday and I'm recording a smaller piece every like Thursday or whatever. And so he just does it regardless. So what he drops into that episode to do, and he's doing that because he has a promise to advertisers, to audience, and people listen. If you got 2 million people listening to you just shooting off the cuff, keep doing it.
He's really ranting on shit.
Yeah, and a lot of times he'll drop in, and this is where I led to like kind of how I like to do it, which is to be very conversational about where you are in that moment about a handful of things. And you might go into 4 subjects you didn't even think you were going to talk about in your own conversation with yourself. And so I always liked when he's like, I got the Chargers and the Titans on right now. What is up with, like he riffs on something that doesn't even, and then he'll talk about another thing, but it stays evergreen. It's not based on the thing happening there, but it's based off of something that occurs in his mind off of what's
while that
there.
thing is on in the background. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of, yeah. No, I'm the same way too. And I realized for myself through the years, as like I said, growth comes with this, age, all that interest. As much as I don't mind debate, embrace debate, whatever you call that, like the first take thing, I am like yourself. I prefer conversations. I prefer deep thought. I prefer like this. Let's strip it down. Let's discuss the topic. Let's get to the bones and see what we're talking about. And that's where I'm at. I like having conversations more than anything else, even about the things I'm into. Even if it's a solo show, let's take the one topic, let's dress it down, and go from there. Not debate yes or no. Everything has to be a debate. Some things could just be you say your point. You can rant on it, of course. I rant kind of the same thing too. But yeah, I realized in the last maybe year or two that I am more of a conversationalist than I am of a debater, if you will.
I think most people who listen to podcasts listen to them for passive entertainment. I don't think they're there to be actively present.
Yeah.
And so I really believe you have to do it in such a way where you're giving people time to think between just talking, that they're probably going to have it on and they're going to hear about 10% of it, but it's important to have it on. It's important to have something on.
Right.
And for a conversation line to catch your attention and make you think of something else, and that it feels good to finish one. I really think that's what a podcast is. Like when I think of I look forward to the Bill Simmons Cousin Sal podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I often can't tell you any of the teams that are playing each other based off of their guess the lines. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you what the line is that they agreed on or who won. I literally I hear it for conversation and to be caught up in two people talking and then something sticks out that's funny but it's really just playing. I'm not actively listening.
Yeah, sure. Especially with the long form stuff, like especially with Simmons, like I'll play Simmons, but I'll be like in and out of it. Like, okay, what? Oh, whatever. That kind of thing. It is what it is. I'm not gonna go back. 2-hour podcast. I don't have time for that.
No. And
I'm with you.
Yeah. So that ends up being, and it's tough because I feel like I don't make any headway on content that's not transient, like the day-to-day back and forth, this and that. So it's important to me to make headway, like in books, in
things that matter,
in movies, in television shows that are good, because it's a different feeling. Like I always say, it's almost the difference between, if you like whiskey, there's two ways to drink it, and the two ways give you different effect. You could do shots, or you could be 20 years older and sit in a nice chair with a whiskey on the rocks and sip that one shot for 30 minutes. And I really lean more towards the latter. Like I think it's hard to get into the mode where you're moving so fast. You're getting drunk in 3 minutes. You're like,
I'm starting,
you're out.
I'm starting to get to that point now. Where I don't want to enjoy. I prefer long form. I like long form, but I like to ease into it and enjoy it. Instead of like everything fast paced. And I'm with you on that one. I'm totally with you on that one.